I got new skates. So these are the new USD Shadow, and they're pretty tech. The Shadow has an interesting story. Shadow started as a skate company from Solomon, probably around 2001, 2002. The concept was that, for years we'd been skating hard boots and having like a squishy liner on the inside. And that was, a standard rollerblade. That's what inline skates looked like. So I don't know who initially came up with the idea, but I'm going to credit Shane Coburn, who was the mastermind behind Medium, behind Mind Game. Totally brilliant guy. He, loved tinkering and loved coming up with new ideas. And he started playing with the concept of having a skate that was a snowboard binding, but it could use your shoes as the liner. The concept had been around for a while. There was a thing called the Metro Blade back in the days that Rollerblade had. I want to say that was probably the first. I mean, I'm sure there's probably patents from back in the days, but that was the first skate that I knew that was a shoe that you would slide in and you would crank some stuff down and you'd be able to skate. But the Shadow was the first aggressive skate that I know of that was designed with a shoe and a shell combo that let you walk around on the shoes between sessions and between spots. So Solomon produced the skate, and they were very successful. Lots of people rode Shadows, and they were around for a few years until Solomon decided to close up shop. Rather than closing up everything, they wanted to sell the molds. So they sold the concept and the patents and all of the designs and materials that they were using to make the Shadow skate to Powerslide. So they'd been working on it for many years and they'd been selling them, but it was always under the Shadow brand, the Shadow with the X. And then maybe a year ago, they shut down that brand and they stopped making the Shadow skate. And they wanted to re-release it under the USD brand. So right off the top, this is actually the Trimax version of the USD Shadow. So the USD Shadow is sold in two variations at launch. One is the Trimax, which comes with three 100mm wheels on a Kaiser Trimax frame. The other is the Kaiser Fluid version, which comes with a Kaiser Fluid frame and an anti-rocker setup. That doesn't come out until spring. So the Trimax version came out this weekend, which was the week of December 25th, the week of Christmas in 2018. And I was lucky enough to get my hands on a set of boot-only USD Shadows from Oak City Skate Shop. So huge thanks to Long for hooking me up with this. Full disclosure, I paid retail for all of these, but I was very fortunate that Long sold me a boot-only set, and I didn't have to buy the Trimax frames because I already have Trimax frames. I don't need another set. And I wanted to ride some grinder blader setups. I didn't want to ride big wheels to start. This is an interesting concept. I've been looking at this shoe-sole combination for a long time, but I never had a purpose, and now it's a skate that I can use for grinder blading. So I'm really curious to see how it performs. So these are the size 10 Eclipse liners in the medium, I think it's the medium shell. They feel good. So my foot is 28.5 centimeters, and I can wiggle my toes. So I don't have any issues wearing this liner, shoe, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, they feel fine. The width is fine as well, and the fact that I can adjust it with the buckles makes me feel a little more in control. Like I use the Velcro strap in the front, if I want a little bit more tightness in the toe. I'm not getting much in the way of heel raise or anything like that. Honestly, they just feel like regular boots. I mean, just like an Aeon, just like a New Jack, just like a V13 or whatever, until I look down. And then it's this weird, like, straps and buckles and laces and things. But if I don't look down, they feel like regular skates. I did a few airs. The shock absorber feels fine. I don't think there's a huge shock absorber. I think that the built-in shock absorber that you get with the walkable liner and the sole of the walkable liner is all that you're going to get. It does ship with an additional, like a wedge sort of shock absorber. I don't know if that's more of a sizing thing or a comfort thing, but it isn't in this setup, and I feel like I don't need it. So I'm not too worried about that. I think that you'll be fine if you're skating these just as is without any additional shock absorber. All right, let's try some grinds. All right, no issues with sole tricks. I wasn't too surprised, to be honest. These soles are huge, and they're kind of angled out, so you get a little less resistance. They feel really good, though. Just a little big. Like, I don't feel clunky or anything, but I feel almost like cheating. You know what I mean? Like, it's just too wide. Like, how can you miss? You know, if I missed a sole, I would hate myself, because, like, come on, like, the sole's so big. Why? How could I miss? I don't know that that's a problem, but it's just an observation. All right, here comes some Royales. Wow, I mean, Royales were easy. You know, I've struggled on a lot of different skates. Struggled on the Aeon 72s, struggled on the K2 Front Street. I mean, Royales have been a battle for a long time. And granted, I'm probably better at Royales now, but the mix of these shadows with some balance frames and juice blocks, I mean, I'm not even thinking about Royale. I just jump on, slide. Back Royale too, no problems. The run-up is a bit tighter on the right side, so it's harder to get speed. And I end up jumping on like halfway, which doesn't give me enough time to really get set. But I feel like if this ledge was longer and if the run-up were better, I wouldn't have any problems here. I am getting a weird, like when you're doing Royale tricks, you know, you put a lot of pressure on your lateral pressure, I guess it's called, left and right. I'm getting a lot of movement there that I'm not super used to. You know, I usually skate the Them 908. That's the skate that I found fits me the best. And that thing locks me in really clean. I have no issues there. This, yeah, I'm getting some movement. It might be a break-in thing. It might be me just getting used to how to tighten it, what buckles to tighten and such, but I'm definitely feeling it. All right, topside tricks. Wow, I mean, I've been practicing top acid, but those are the best top acids I've ever done. You know, I got the angle right. I got the fall off it so that I'm locking on the frame instead of the sole, but this bigger sole in this lower frame really helps to lock a top acid without having to get too tall. Kind grind still struggling. it's a harder trick, you know. I got to spin. With top acid, all I have to worry about is lifting up my feet. All right, last trick I've never tried. I'm going to do some negatives. You know, Chris Farmer, I'm a huge fan of Chris Farmer's, and he, you know, was the voice and the image of Shadow for so many years. He made negative tricks look good, and I've never tried them. So figure if I'm in Shadows, I got to pay tribute to Chris and at least try it. I don't know what to expect. I don't know which one's my natural, but I'm going to try them both. I don't know which one to try first either. He does negative acid, which I feel like is the one that I'm going to hurt myself the most, but maybe I'll just try that, you know, just full Chris Farmer tribute, but we'll see. Here goes nothing. It's back to blading. So I teach people how to get back into skating that stopped skating a long time ago. I don't know what that was. I don't know if I slid it or if I just missed like a tabernacle. Ah! Oh! Slid that one. Ah, got it. That's right, Chris. I got you. It wasn't the prettiest, but it was the most negative. Negative acid. I've never even tried a negative trick. Felt weird, but I could see the appeal, especially if you got these big old soles like that. Yeah, I could definitely see that as being fun. Just something different, you know? Might not be for everyone, but sure was a challenge. First impressions, I mean, these aren't bad. To be honest, they're much better than I thought they would be. I was expecting just a very weird, not really connected to my foot situation. You know, I knew that the liner would feel good because it's a shoe, but I felt like the skeleton or the shell or the sole or whatever you want to call it, I felt like that was just going to be a mess. You know, just flopping around. I wasn't going to feel connected to it at all. Completely opposite. I felt like this is fine. Like it bolts in fine. I feel connected to it. I feel like my sole tricks were fine. Top sides were fine. Royales were fine. There's some little wiggle issues that I think I need to address. The nice thing is that because there are so many, so many lace holes and so many buckles that you can pretty much fine tune this connection however you want. Add to that the sole, the cuff is adjustable, so you can pull it back or forwards to make this skate a little longer if your foot is smaller or longer than it comes. So they're super adjustable. I don't know. I mean, they're much better than I thought they would be, to be completely honest. It's hard for me to come out, you know, I test a lot of skates, and it's hard for me to come out and do all the tricks that I was able to do last week fresh on a pair of skates. And I had no issues. I'm going to try to get to the skate park tomorrow, the indoor skate park. It's going to be raining here, so I'm going to try skating on mini ramp and, you know, transition and stuff. That's usually where I can tell the problem with skates, you know, how flexy they are, how much movement there is. But for just grinder blading, these are pretty great. Obviously, they're extremely polarizing. You know, they look very different than any other skate on the market. They have a shoe in them. So you might like them, you might not like them. But it's a shoe. You could walk around with it. So if that's something you're interested in, definitely check them out. You know, they're not horrible. I think that they would be fully fine for most people, if that's your sort of thing. Anyway, thanks for watching, and see you guys next week.